And we are so happy to be here once again at this amazing episode and this space and this place, which is just becoming the number one place to come and get valuable information from local real estate market experts in Southwest Florida that we're sharing with everyone across the country and even other countries that are tuning in and watching. So, welcome to Agents in the Trenches. As usual, I'm Lucy Quinones, and I get to lead this podcast and this conversation. And with me, I have my running partner, Talia. How are you doing today, Talia?
I am doing great. Super excited to be here.
Excellent. Well, for everyone that's watching now on live, put a hashtag live. If you're going to watch on replay, let us know that you watch. Drop your comments, your questions. Here is the mission and the vision of Agents in the Trenches. It is to collaborate and unite top real estate market experts from different playing fields of the real estate industry so that they can bring their market updates, so that they can tell us what they are seeing, what the pulse of their specific field is having or seeing or feeling, so that together we can collaborate and grow. So we're going to kick it off real quickly with Maggie. But before we kick it off with Maggie, I want to thank Maggie for being here. She's a real estate expert in the mortgage world. We've got Rocky Mariano, who is an insurance expert in the insurance world. And last but not least, we've got Joy Margolies, who is an expert in the home warranty field of the industry. So Maggie, kick it off. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. Thank you so much, Lucy. Thank you, Talia, Rocky, Joey. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I appreciate being here. Love to do this on a Friday afternoon. And what is the world looking like in our world in real estate? I think the same as every other time. For over 20 years that I've been in the market, it almost seems like the conversation is always the same. We're always complaining about the interest rates. We're always complaining about the house prices. So it's almost the same. What I like to do is always say, listen, guys, control the conversation. Our customers will always have a friend in the business. They'll have a family member. They'll have a friend of a friend of a friend, that somehow these people always see the future. These people are telling our customers, don't buy now because the interest rates are going to get lower in the future. Don't buy now because home prices will go down in the future. These people have like an inside knowledge of that. And it's funny because in the future, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to hit the Florida jackpot and live happily in Valley and retire there. But for now, we have to set the expectations and set the realities and control the conversation. There's a lot of noise out there. And I think what we have to do, at least that what I like to do, is listen, take a customer and kind of really control the conversation with facts. Forget about the noise, forget about the interest rate, forget about the home prices. Just talk to the customer on a one-to-one and set the facts. The conversation. Real estate is the best investment you'll ever make. Real estate will give a legacy to your family. Real estate will allow you to raise your children where you want your children to be raised. Real estate will allow you to retire in the community that you want to retire. Real estate will actually allow you to belong to a community. That's the reality. That's what we have to concentrate on. Interest rates are higher now than they were 3.5 years ago. We know that. But 3.5 years ago, we were coming out of a pandemic, something that no one's ever seen before. It was the whole world was just locked in their homes, and we had to jumpstart. It's funny, Lucy, because if you look at Freddie Mac, in the last 53 years, the average interest rate is just below 8%. So when people talk to me about interest rates right now at 7, it's lower than it's been in the average for the past 53 years. So we have to control that conversation and forget about interest rates. The reality, Mr. Customer, you're paying 1,000% interest on that rent that you're paying.
Right.
You're financing somebody else's retirement account. You're financing somebody else's family legacy. that's what I do. That's how I bring the conversation and control it. Then we set the expectation, Lucy. We set the expectation. Okay, Mr. Customer, you can control the interest rate. I cannot control the interest rate, but you can control your spending. We can work together, control your spending so that we can get a little bit higher, you know, when the interest rates are higher. If we need to readjust the size of the price of the home, let's readjust that as well. So it doesn't matter what the market looks like. It doesn't matter whether the interest rate is 2%, 5%. My message, my 2 cents is that the conversation is always the same. You control the conversation and you make it unique to your customer. That's why you're the professional.
I love it. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you for that market update. I know that you are busy. We hear a lot of, hustle and bustle where you're at, but that's a good sign because that means that you are in the trenches, you're working. Hang tight. We're going to bring you back to, close out with a great conversation, but thank you so much for bringing that hot topic to us today. Maybe it wasn't. But anyway, we got a lot of background noise, my friends. So somebody's in the hustle and the bustle of the business.
Hold on. Let me see if I can. I'm going to remove myself and try to figure that out, okay?
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. All right, guys, we're going to continue this conversation here with our next person that we're going to bring up. He is an expert in the home protection, home warranty field. So I want to introduce my longtime friend who I had not seen for a while. Joey, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Lucy. It's great to see you. Thanks for having me on. I know we go way back.
Yes, I'm happy to see that you're still in the industry and that you're still doing what you do. How long have you been in the industry?
So it'll actually be 10 years this year. So I love what I do. I believe in the product. I'm passionate about it. I love talking about it.
So I thank you so much for jumping on. I know that you're out in the field. You're somewhere on the East Coast. We're in the West Coast today. But as an expert in the industry, why is it important for people, for agents mainly, to know about home warranties? And as a matter of fact, I want to tell you, it was because of Maggie that brought this to the forefront of our attention that I said, hey, that's right. We got to get back into talking about home warranties and what that actually does. So give us an update, give us the latest and greatest, and why is this an important topic and important information for real estate agents, real estate brokers, and team leaders to really connect with you and learn more about what they can offer their sellers and buyers.
Awesome. Yeah, no, so, it's funny. I owe Maggie some swag. That's for sure. She's kind of dead on. It's 2024 and home warranties are all the same. So one of the big things that I really want to stress on agents, managers, what I try to do is help provide solutions to the everyday problems that you all have. And what I mean by that is, whether it's differentiation of yourself or the listing that you're trying to sell, if it's a home inspection issue, stuff like that, I can really help with. I'm a big story person, and I feel like agents love to relate the story. So I have two really quick ones for you, I promise. The one is condo market's very crazy right now, right? A lot of factors in play, a lot of people trying to sell their condo, right? Like the months of kind of way up. And so I had an agent that, they're in one of those condo complexes that have, 500-600 units. They all look the same. 10 or 12 other agent listings out there. And he actually was able he sold his condo first, and the buyer said to him, the biggest reason he bought this was, you had the warranty on there. It was a big differentiator for the condo. That's one of the things I really want to stress on y'all. The other thing, and a little embarrassing, but I like to tell the story because it's a good one, is I was the worst first-time buyer, right? And we put listings on, we put contracts on 4 different homes. We canceled the first 3 of those on the last day of due diligence. I'm a nightmare customer. It's funny, the first home was amazing. I loved it, but the AC sold and past its useful life, and the inspector people, right? And we canceled the contract. And my agent would have just told me about American Home Shield, I bought that company. So, past its useful life is A-okay. Different, past its useful life, I can help. The name of the game, having you guys on to the next deal.
Agree with what you're saying, and at the end of the day, knowledge right now is everything. So it's super important for everyone to know that this is something that we need to talk more about, these home warranties, where it could help our buyers, even our sellers, when we go get a listing. I'm going to have Talia chime in. I don't know if she has a question for Joey or anything, but we definitely have to bring Joey back to kind of unpack more of that conversation.
You're muted, Talia.
You're muted, Talia.
You double muted yourself. I do it all the time.
Thank you so much for sharing, Joey. I don't have a question, but we definitely want to bring you back on to share some more information about that. That was awesome.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Okay, hang tight. We're going to close this out with more conversations, but thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Just hang out in the green room. This is valuable information, Talia, that we have to unpack. And I apologize for technical difficulties here today, but we're doing our best to bring you, the latest and greatest. I want to bring up the next champion over here from our insurance industry, because he always has some mega bombs to drop as far as value, information, concepts, just golden nuggets that we all need to know. So who is that, Tali? Who's that?
Yes, let's bring him onto the stage. Rocky Mariano. Hi, Rocky. How are you?
Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well. Yes. How are you, Rocky?
Thank you for having me again, Lucy and Talia and Maggie. Great statements, and Joey also great statements that you guys spoke about today. And glad to be back. So basically, last time we were talking about the new markets that came into the South Florida insurance. Today I want to talk about, and I mentioned this towards the end of our last conversation, I want to mention insurance agent and real estate agent collaboration in the transaction for the real estate closing. I'm finding that a lot of my lenders are waiting till last minute to get the insurance in place. And I want to obliterate this, for the lack of a better word, and say, once the real estate transaction goes under contract and you have completed the inspections, and in those inspections you do 9 out of 10 times, you do a general home inspection, termite and rodent inspection, and then you have the insurance inspections, which are the 4-point inspection, which you're going to need 9 out of 10 times, because most homes in Florida are over 20 years old, unless the house is newer construction, or under 20 years old. And then you have the wind mitigation inspection, which is what gets you the savings on all the savings that you can possibly have on the policy. I want to make it clear that you guys, realtors, brokers, listing agents, buyer agents, should have a relationship with an aggressive insurance agent that's going to be there once you guys get past inspection, to start quoting the insurance policies for your buyers or for your sellers, or to have an idea what it's going to be. For the mortgage broker, a good insurance agent is going to help them out by knowing whether the to-income ratio is going to be, once that finalized price for the premium is figured out. Number one. Number two, for the realtor, it's very valuable to have an insurance agent that's going to be there to look at the property inspections and review them. Because, for example, this is 9 out of 10 times there's a double tap on the electrical panel. You cannot obtain insurance and you cannot close on the house unless that's fixed. Once the realtor understands this, number one, it makes them look good in front of the client, in front of their buyer, because they're going to be able to present this and say, hey, we can't close without this. This is an issue, and the seller has to remedy this prior to closing. So it shows that the agent, the buyer's agent, is looking out for their client to make sure that that's going to take place. As far as the mortgage broker involved, we need to make sure to start buying policies at a time, not 1 week before closing, not a couple. You want to clear that condition, your conditions in the mortgage process, as fast as possible, so that one less thing they need to worry about. And that's what I wanted to highlight and obliterate today. If you guys want to reach out to me, you got my information on there. I would love to help. Questions, concerns, quotes, even if you're using me for reviewing something. Lucy and Talia, I said to you this last time, I want to kind of give a presentation to agents. It'll be maybe 20 minutes tops on how to read a 4-point, how to read a wind mitigation inspection. And I can use examples that I've had in the past so that because the insurance is needed on not most real estate transactions, because unless you're buying cash, you don't really need the insurance. However, if you're doing a loan, which is 95% of the time, you're going to need the insurance. And if you can't buy the insurance, your transaction's dead. Now the buyer's upset they can't close, the seller's upset they can't sell, and nobody's happy. So at the end of the day, I think we need to start fine-tuning this situation. And I think a good relationship between the buyer's agent and the mortgage broker with an insurance agent that's aggressive and they're on top of it, it'll help smooth things out in the real estate transaction.
I love it. And, I want to bring everybody back to if everyone is ready, I don't know, Talia, if everyone is ready to come back to the main stage, but we've got plans, Rocky. So what you just said is absolutely true. Today, one of the things that we wanted to do was unveil the fact that we are going to be bringing one of the most powerful strategies and value-driven propositions that I've used in the past, which is a very authentic and organic rent-to-own home buyers seminar that we want to bring to the community. So what you just said, Rocky, we've got plans with you to be part of that if you would like. Maggie is head steering it along with us from the mortgage end. And in our conversation earlier this week, this is how this whole idea came together, because I said we have to bring value to the market. We have to bring the differentiating factors of, how can we build more business for all of us? And Maggie said, we need insurance, we need mortgage, we need home protection, because there's buyers that don't know that they can purchase a home and have home protection. There's sellers that don't know that they can put home protection onto their listings, make their listings more attractive by offering home protection. So that is exactly what we want to do. We want to put on one of the first and most unique rent-to-own home buyer seminars together. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about, bringing that to our community and just serving our community through those efforts, which I know are going to reap results? Maggie, you can take it away.
Well, thank you. Well, first of all, I have to plug in Rocky. He's just amazing. He's my Miami connection. Loan officers out there, all you have to do is pick up the phone, call Rocky. Rocky, I need HOI. This is what I need. Get it done. Hang up the phone and move to the next one. So just want to definitely say, when you associate yourself with the best, you always get the best results. Now, this event that we're doing, this collaboration that we're doing, Lucy, I'm just really excited about, because I think the key to it, and again, going back to what we've talked about always, is education. Control the conversation, forget about the noise, focus on the light, and I think that's the key. And in order for us to be able to provide like the full gamut of helping someone understand what is the path to home ownership, there's a lot of different people involved. And I think once people realize that and realize the different steps and realize that they're dealing with professionals, a lot of that noise will go away. When you have a better and more educated customer, someone that understands what you're trying to accomplish, things just go a lot easier. So you know what, just being a realtor and just being a mortgage lender and talking to them, that doesn't really mean anything. I think you have to look at it from the entire perspective. Why do we need an appraiser? Why do you need a home inspection? Why do you need home protection? So I think what we're putting together is going to be an amazing event. I think we're all going to be learning a little bit, because I know I'm going to be learning from Rocky. I'm going to be learning from all the partners out there, from Joey, everyone. So I'm really excited, and I think the key is going to be the education component. That's what's going to make the difference.
Yes, absolutely. Joey, what do you think about participating in a very authentic, organic rent-to-own home buyers seminar here in Southwest Florida?
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. I'm all about it. I'll tell you two things that stood out to me about, especially kind of with what Maggie said, value, right? And I always kind of joke, like, home warranties are boring, right? I solve problems and bring value. That's what I sell. So I think to tie that into the first-time home buyer seminar, there are a lot of first-time home buyers that are afraid of buying a home. Don't know how to do it. Don't know that it's painful, right? And then one of the biggest, my mom's in this situation right now. She doesn't want to deal with a water heat like that. And I think that there's a lot of buyers that are on the fence for that reason, when the reality is their solution for all of the problems that they have. I'm all about it. I love helping people. Probably my favorite part about the.
I love it. Thank you, Joey. Rocky, so we're going to continue along the way with what you're talking about. And I think that it's super important for, there's so much stigma in buying a home. I would say that 70% of renters don't know that they can buy, because they're just scared. Fear is I think the biggest challenge that most people face when thinking of buying a home. The fear, the uncertainty, the lack of education, the lack of knowledge. So what would you say to people that are out there that, should just look into it? How do you feel that we could serve that huge segment of the population who right now is not even looking into it? Like I can tell you from a firsthand experience that the reason I love the rent-to-own program that I've done, and it's something very organic, very authentic that we put together back in, oh my goodness, 2009, when we were trying to, help everybody get back into, actually 2010. And most people are just paralyzed because of fear. They don't even want to look into it because they're scared. What do you feel? What do you think about that, Rocky?
Yeah, I think that people need to understand, it's like anything else, right? When you're gonna rent, you need last security to move in, right? Typical average rent, I don't know, let's come up to a number at 3.2, probably on average. If you average out all of Florida, maybe I'm thinking $3,000 a month for a 3.2. Last security is $9,000. The down payment on a $300,000 house is $9,000. So, in essence, I think that if we educate the public, where we let them know, and Maggie, you can agree or disagree, but if you're buying a single family home, $300,000, $9,000 down payment, basically you're looking at, if you don't have money to close, you can have your buyer's agent negotiate the closing costs. So technically, you can possibly get into, or very likely, I should say, get into a property that's $300,000 purchase price with the same amount that you would use to get into another rental. So it's about educating, and there's cases, I'm sure, Maggie, for example, that you've spoken to some people and they have, from the initial conversation, I would say maybe 25 to 30% of the time when you're working with a buyer, they have either things going on with their credit that need to bring up their credit a little higher, or they might have a down payment issue that they can save up in 6 months to a year or before. So there's always things that need to take place. I've had situations where you have a self-employed buyer who's been self-employed 1 year and they need to be self-employed for 2 years total so that they can qualify. And nowadays, and Maggie, you can vouch for this, and you as little as 580, 560 credit score, you can do an FHA loan. And on top of that, you can do bank statement loans as well. So you have people who are self-employed who are making the money. They just haven't had reports for 2 years showing, income for 2 years, but there's ways around it. So I think that once we explain and highlight these things, it's on a case by case basis. You might not be ready to buy today, but maybe in 3 months, or maybe in 6 months, or maybe in a year. But you have to sit down and have the conversation to see how to get started and where to go next. It's a consultation. It should be a free consultation anyway, and it's just highlighting and explaining to the general public so they have an understanding of where to go, what the next step is, and not having that fear, like you mentioned, Lucy, of, oh my God, buying a house. I've worked with buyers before where they're paying rent $2,500 and they expect to pay the same or less with a low down payment on purchasing. Sometimes you have to educate the public and say, you're buying a house, now you're owning an asset. If you're putting a low down payment down, you can expect to pay the same or less than you're paying for rent at the moment. And in my experience, is usually $500 to $600 more a month. But now you're building equity, you own your own property. You even get a discount on your auto policy once you become a homeowner. So there's benefits of becoming a homeowner. The mortgage interest that you're paying on the mortgage, it's tax deductible. That's another advantage, for example. So becoming a homeowner, it's not an impediment. It actually opens up doors, and you're building equity. And like Maggie was saying earlier, you build legacy. God forbid something happens to you in 20 to 25 years. You have 3 kids. Now they're going to inherit your property. And that's your legacy.
I love that you're saying that. Right now I'm in a real estate licensing class that I'm conducting, I'm giving, and that's one of the things that we're talking about is, when someone purchases a home, they're getting so much more than just a home. They're buying everything that comes with the land. They're buying, air rights. They're buying land rights. It's by far the number one investment that any human can make. It is the most powerful, investment that any human can make. And at the end of the day, this goes out to every agent, team leader, and broker that is out there. If you are not empowering your agents, or as a team leader, you're not empowering your agents to conduct, first-time home buyer seminars or workshops. In my case, I love the rent-to-own home buyer workshops that I do because they're powerful, they're empowering, they remove the stigma. There's so much stigma when it comes to purchasing a home. The first thing that everybody says, it's not going to be possible because of that. We don't focus on the impossibilities. I am a person that focuses on the possibilities, making the impossible possible, right? And this is why I want to do this first-time home buyer seminar, actually rent-to-own home buyer seminar, because it's not even just for first-time home buyers. It's for everyone and anyone that is open-minded about, let me look into it. What do I have to lose? And that's where you guys are going to get to come in as experts. And I want to do this in a collaborative way. I want to do this in a collaborative way. I want to do this in a way where we are going to join forces together. Like I said to Maggie, together we're stronger, together we're better. Talia and I, and I'm so blessed to have Talia, right? Because I'm a visionary and I'm nonstop. But this is not a one-man thing. And that's why I have you guys here today, because I really want to open your minds to, we could do so much more for our community. We could bring, what we do to a bigger scale. So, I'm really happy. I know we've been having a little technical difficulties with Joey. I'm sorry. I thank you for connecting. I thank you for making the effort to connect, but I know that you are mobile en route. This is why we came together today. I just, obviously wanted to include you in what we're doing. I want to encourage you to be a frontline leader along with me to do this rent-to-own homebuyer seminar. So let's close it out. I don't know if Talia has any questions. I always move her to the front, right? She is my running partner and my right hand, woman. So did we miss anything in this conversation, Tali?
No, I don't. I think we touched on the majority of what we wanted to touch on, right? I want to acknowledge one of the comments here by someone that's watching. And, he makes a really good point, because that this is what's happening, right? And he says, I find that people want to make the move, but they are surrounded by people that don't understand how the market works. So, of course, that leads them to having false ideas, right, in their mind on, what it takes. So a lot of times what happens is they complicate it in their heads
Right.
on, what it's going to take from becoming a renter to an owner, because of all of the noise that they're hearing. So I just want to end it with that, because that's exactly why people need to come to what we're putting together to get the education, to debunk some of the stuff that you're hearing. Because there's just people just watching the news and then they create their own ideas, and it's not right. So
Yes.
if you want to know exactly what's happening, how you can make it a possibility from becoming a renter to a buyer, right? This is exactly what you need and why you need to come to
Yes.
what we're putting together. So I'm excited to, be a part of this. I'm excited to, hear what everybody has to say and have, their own expertise and their own experience. And we'll be announcing those details really soon.
Very
But
soon.
I appreciate everyone coming on, and I do apologize about the technical difficulties. But it happens. This is
It happens. We're live.
It's
That's the beauty. That's the beauty of Agents in the Trenches, guys. We don't play to
I
be
want to say
perfect.
one thing.
Go ahead.
I want to say two things, actually. And basically what it is, if you're a renter at the moment, or you've been renting for all these years, this is one of the two things I want to say. First of all, you need to sit down with a mortgage broker, with a lender, with a realtor, and have a free consultation to understand your finances and your financial situation. From the initial conversation, you could be ready already and be ready to purchase, or this might take 3 months, 6 months, a year, or 2. At the end of the day, you have to know where you stand. And before
Right.
you know where you stand and what your options are, you need to have a conversation and
Absolutely.
a consultation. And then it's like going to the doctor, right? You want to lose weight, you're a little bit overweight. Example, I don't know if it's a good or bad example, but you have to do your blood work. Maybe your
Right.
triglycerides are high, your sugar's high, your diet's not correct. You have to be fine-tuned. So same thing on the financial level. You have to check yourself, so to speak. Where's my credit score? What's my income? Because there's times that you can have amazing income. You're making $250,000 a year, but then you have 150 plus in expenses. You have an expensive car. You have a bunch of credit cards. You have a loan that you took out, and all these things work against your DTI. So you could either make very little money and have very little expenses, or you can make a lot of money and have crazy expenses. And you have to study yourself and check yourself to see where you're at, to see what you qualify for. Maybe this is something that you're going to work on for 6 months, and then in 6 months, you're ready to purchase. That's
Right.
one thing I want to say. For the other skepticals or skeptic out there that's talking about the interest rates are high and so on and so forth, guys, marry the house, date the rate. The interest rates, if you look, like Maggie was saying, for the past 53 years, everything is cyclical. So rates are at 8, rates are at 7.5, 8.25, and then they drop 6.5, 5.25, 4.25. Everything's cyclical. So
Right.
get into the property that you love, marry the house, date the rate. Eventually, the rates are going to drop again, and you refinance eventually. But if you don't do that, then you're going to keep waiting. You're going to keep waiting. You're going to keep burning money in monthly rent payments, and
Right.
You're not going to go anywhere from there. So
You're going nowhere.
see where you stand, get a consultation. If you're ready, don't worry about the rates. Marry the house you love and date the rate. Rates will get better eventually.
And they will. And they will. And you know what? This is what I think all of us, every one of us has a responsibility to change the narrative. We
Yes.
have a responsibility. Talia was saying, we're apologizing for the technical difficulties. You guys are connecting, where you are from where you are, because you have a heart for, connecting with us and being part of the change, being part of the difference, right? And I appreciate that so much. But let me tell you something. There's absolutely nothing that I do because I'm perfect. I do it because I'm purposeful. I'm doing it because I know this is what's going to bring a change in my sphere. This is what's going to help me make a difference. So we got to change the narrative, and changing the narrative requires action. That's why I don't take perfect action. I take purposeful action. I don't care if it comes out imperfect. My imperfect Agents in the Trenches is better than the perfect one that nobody else is doing.
So, Lucy, I just have to say, and this is going back to Rocky, but, when people come to me and say, oh, I'm not going to buy a house now because the interest rates are too high. I said, okay, well, you are paying 1,000% on your rates. So what's the other excuse? Because you're just making excuses.
Right. It's
Right.
fear.
And that's it. That's it. Control the conversation, talk about the facts, and that's what our job is. Once
Well-
you have the ability to do that, it just
Yeah.
falls in. People, we have to help people make the better choices. And we have to help them understand that they do have a choice. Like Rocky said, even if you have a credit score of 550, okay, we can work with that. Let's work with that. Let us teach you how to get on the right path. The problem is that people have too much noise. They don't listen. They listen to things that they don't need to be listening to. They listen to people that are not in the business, that are not professionals. I go to school. I mean, we do continuing education. This is our job,
Right.
And I think that once we can get that message across to more people, they'll understand that education and that the choices that we're giving them is really just an amazing way
Knowledge
to
is
life,
everything.
because we're changing
Knowledge is
people's life.
Knowledge
Which,
is everything. Joy,
know,
did you want to say something
yeah.
real quick? I don't want to keep you guys too long. Did you want to chime in and say something?
Well, actually, you kind of hit it on the head. I think the knowledge is the thing. The smart agents are out there getting all the tools available to them. Projection. This noise that's out there. I cover from both coasts of Florida, and I can tell you it's, the market is still healthy for the most part. It's not like the sky is falling. That, and home prices may be dropping a tiny bit in some areas, but other areas they're not. And
Right.
it doesn't matter if you save 2% on the interest rate and your house is $100,000 more. You feel like saving. Where's the savings in that? So I just think that the customer
Love it.
out there.
Thank you so much, guys. I know we could be here forever. Thank you for all your valuable knowledge, content, contribution, collaboration. This is it for Agents in the Trenches today. Get ready. We are bringing the Rent to Own Home Buyers Seminar, making the American dream a reality. Making the American dream a possibility for other people, regardless of the circumstances that are surrounding us. I believe we're here to defy the odds, to set a new standard. We're here to build lives, right? And make a difference in our community. So thank you so much, guys, for joining me. Have an amazing Friday, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you
for having